It's the Anambra State All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA Party Convention 2021, held at the Professor Dora Akunyili Women's Development Center in Awka, Anambra State. A boisterous atmosphere here as the candidates, as well as hundreds of accredited delegates and other party members and leaders from across the state, are all gathered here, clad in the party's brilliant colors.
Now, when you vote, you surrender your delegate tag.
There's a crucial assignment before the party, and that's to choose the candidates that would represent APGA at the forthcoming November 6 governorship election in the state. Voting soon begins as the accredited delegates come forward to make their choice. Voting over, and it's time to announce the winner and present the certificate of return.
I hereby declare Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo as the duly elected governorship candidate of APGA.
Appreciating and congratulating all stakeholders for the peaceful conduct of the exercise, the governor notes that the party's journey to victory has just begun as he introduces the party's flag bearer.
I want to commend the National Working Committee, the State Working Committee, all the APGA members, particularly the delegates, for the peaceful conduct of this primary. It is very exceptional, you know, and just know that our job has just started, and we are going to do 21/21 again.
Beginning his speech on a note of appreciation for the overwhelming support, Mr. Soludo, a former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, says it's time for him to give back to his people.
I believe it is now time to come home and serve my people. As a poor village boy who has been especially blessed by God, that's Charlie Mwambwafo, I desire to give back to society through selfless public service. If you then, the Anambra people, graciously employ me as your chief servant come November, I hope to deploy all the global and national experiences and networks, as well as the local experience and knowledge as a village boy to make you proud.
APGA may have chosen the candidate to represent it at the November 6 Anambra governorship poll. However, the onus is on the larger body of voters across the state to determine who eventually leads the state for another 4 years.
And that's the matter which we find interesting this morning. It's no longer news that Anambra will be going to the polls come November the 6th this year. However, what is news is that some political parties, from Inec's point of view, might not be able to participate. The question is why? We have with us this morning Mr. Festus Okoye, who is the National Commissioner, Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee at Inec. And we also have with us Senator Victor Umeh, who is a former national chairman of APGA. Gentlemen, you're welcome to Sunrise Daily this morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, good morning. Welcome, viewers.
Well, I'm wondering, on Wednesday was when we saw that particular Congress take place, that APGA, conducted, and eventually it threw up Professor Charles Soludo as the candidate of the party. Did you participate in that particular Congress?
Myself?
Yes.
I thought there was a video clip shown now, and you saw this story cap everywhere.
We have to be sure it was you.
No, it was me. It can't be any other person other than me.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
I was there.
And you thought the process was free and
voted.
fair?
completely free and fair. All the aspirants that took part in the primary, 4 of them that were cleared to go to that stage, they were all there, you know, well seated, voted, had their agents. In fact, one of the aspirants opted to be his own agent. So he monitored the counting and recording of the votes. And when everything was done and the result declared, they were all satisfied and they left.
Were the processes followed running up to the conduct of the congresses?
All the processes? Completely. You know, you should have known by now that APGA is a party that is a stickler to due process. I was chairman of this party for 10 years, and you would expect that still being a member of that party, I will always associate myself with things that are legitimate, legal, due process. I was satisfied that all the processes were followed leading to that final day of selecting the candidate. And I participated fully and voted. So all the processes were followed, and the party followed all the guidelines, including its own guidelines and the Inec guidelines for that election, including the Electoral Act, you know, provisions in the nomination of candidates. So we're not in breach of any aspect of the requirements of the law.
Well, so what is this we hear, Mr. Okoye, about APGA might not be able to participate in the forthcoming Anambra polls?
Well, the Commission has never said that APGA will not participate in the polls. The political party itself gave the Independent National Electoral Commission the statutory and requisite 21 days notice of its intention to conduct its party primaries for the purposes of nominating a candidate for the November 6th governorship election. And they stated that they are going to conduct their state congress on the 23rd day of June 2021. The Independent National Electoral Commission monitored that particular congress where this nomination was made. However, what the commission said was that the commission received 2 letters, one letter from a legal practitioner from a law firm, and also wrote one letter to the national chairman of APGA. In one of the letters, the legal practitioner asked the commission for a copy of our monitoring report in relation to the World Delegates Congress that the political party conducted. And we said we didn't monitor that particular Delegates Congress, and we don't have any report to give. Then the secretary to the commission also wrote a letter to the national chairman of APGA, drawing his attention to the fact that the party submitted the delegates list to the commission, but that the commission did not monitor the processes relating to that particular delegates list. And as a regulatory body, the commission has the right and the constitutional and legal right to issue such letter to the party, because we are a regulatory body. And when a political party has done something we believe is not right, or is going in a different direction or a wrong direction, we have the right to draw the attention of that particular political party to such an infraction. And that was exactly what we did. There was nowhere in that particular letter where the commission said that APGA will not participate in the November 6th governorship election.
So what you have a problem with right now is the congresses that threw up the delegates that eventually participate in this final congress.
That was what we drew the attention to.
Okay,
yes.
And there's been no response to that.
Well, the resident electoral commissioner for Anambra has been in touch with the national chairman of APGA relating to...
Let us confirm who
yes.
the national chairman of APGA is, as Inec recognizes.
There is no issue relating to who the commission recognizes. If you go to our website and on our files, the national chairman of APGA is Victor Oye, and the national secretary, according to what we have in our files, is Labram Maku. So there's no issue relating to the leadership of the political party. In fact, it was the same national chairman of ABGA, Victor Oye, that the commission made available to from EC9 and from EC9B, relating to the personal particulars of candidates and relating to the names of nominated candidates. So there is no issue relating to the leadership of ABGA, and we are not aware if there's any challenge, and we are not aware whether any other thing has happened. If any other thing has happened relating to the leadership of the party, the commission will be aware, and such thing happening in relation to a convention or a congress where certain decisions have been taken must be made available to the commission, and the commission must monitor it. So there is no issue relating to the leadership of the party.
Okay. So how were the delegates for this particular congress selected or elected?
Well, it is very good that we're having this program, and a national commissioner in charge of information is here with us. From the way he has presented it, it is very clear that the commission tried to create a problem for ABGA. By that letter, the secretary to the commission wrote to the national chairman. Because if I can read from it, let me have your letter. Is your letter?
Yes, I have it here.
Yeah, bring it. So I tell you where you created the problem.
Oh, I hope the letter is here. You ought to have your own letter.
Well, I have a letter, no problem. I have the letter. I need for emphasis, no problem. I know you showed me a copy before.
No, you can have it. I have the letter
so
here.
That's the letter because it's a public document. You see, the letter written by the secretary to the commission says, this is to notify you that the records of the commission indicates that ABGA did not duly notify the commission of the date of the Congress, where the ad hoc delegates were elected as required by Section 85 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended. Accordingly, paragraph 3, accordingly, the Commission is unable to confirm if the ad hoc delegates list submitted by your party is the outcome of a democratic process as required by Section 87.7 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended. So this third leg of this letter issued by the secretary to the commission is a very weighty letter. You know, if you say that you cannot vouch...
Just a moment.
Yes.
It is, they said they cannot confirm.
They cannot confirm.
If you followed a democratic process. How is that creating problems for you?
It is creating a problem because you are laying a ground for somebody to go to court, you know. And this issue needed not to arise at all. By the Inec guideline given to political parties for conduct of primaries to nominate candidates for election, look at, this is your, I hope this is your own.
Well, I have my own, so I'm not in a position
I
to
hope
confirm
it's from the commission. That's what I'm trying to establish. You're a lawyer.
Yes, I am.
So is this what you issued?
I'm a senior lawyer.
Okay, very good. Okay, if I go to page 3, I'll read out something to you because the commission says the party did not duly notify them of this election, of this Congress they are talking about now.
The one that produced the delegates.
The delegates, yes. Look at it. 4.3. Every political party shall publish the venues, dates, times, guidelines, procedures, and other relevant information of its primaries for the purpose of nominating candidates for the party in at least 2 national newspapers, not later than 10 days before the date of the event.
For the purpose of nominating?
Yes.
For the purpose of nominating who? The
candidate now for the election, you know, for the primary election. And ABGA, in compliance with this guideline issued by Inec, apart from writing then giving the notice on 26th of April, that 26th of May, yes, that our Congress will take place on 23rd of June to elect the candidate. It proceeded to publish, as Inec demanded, in 2 national newspapers. Look at it. This one is this day of 21st of April 2021.
Your point is taken, sir.
No, it's not taken. People should see because we know who is right.
That is not what is in contention.
No, it's in contention. Notice. That's what they wrote.
Senator, so that is not what is in contention. What is in contention?
Just allow me. This is the notice. I'm arriving at something. This is this day. Public notice. It's a public notice. A lawyer. He knows what a public notice is. And here we stated that The Special World Congress for election of ad hoc delegates within the 326 wards in Anambra State shall be June 15, 2021. This public notice, this day, is also in the Daily Sun, as they demanded, Inec demanded. They must publish it in all these newspapers, 2 newspapers. Look at Daily Sun of 22nd
so
April.
You did notify?
We notified, because this public notice, Inec is also a public institution. So this is also a notice to them. Everybody in Nigeria. So this issue of whether we issue notice or not is of no moment.
You notified, just a moment, sir. You notified the public in 2 national dailies. On what day was that? 21st April, 2021. That is 55 days. And their guideline says not later than 10 days. We give 55 days notice. The ad hoc...
And 54 days. In the case of Daily Sun, the other one is 55.
The ad hoc delegates congress held when?
15th of June. 15th as stated in this publication. 15th of June. So it's a public notice, including INEC.
But no specific notice to INEC?
If you give somebody notice, they have taken the notice. This is a public institution. And they demanded that we should do this. We have done that. Aside from that, we are not supposed to even do that. Because making an issue out of this notice in their letter shows that they're not getting it right. The Electoral Act itself, in Section 877, did not even prescribe the mode of delegates, a selection of delegates that will vote in indirect primary. If a party chooses indirect primary as a system of nominating their candidates, the Act did not specify how the party would generate those delegates. It never mentioned that no delegate anywhere in that Electoral Act. I stand to be corrected by him. Then, if the party, in its own guideline, chooses the way the delegates will emerge, then they go through that method, those delegates. And we chose nomination of 2 ad hoc delegates. One will come from the Ward Executive Committee. They will nominate that person. That will be 326. Then the party itself in the ward will nominate 1 person. They will now add statutory delegates. I'm a statutory delegate by virtue of the fact that I was former national chairman of the party and a member of the board of trustees. So these are the delegates that were compiled. And on 15th, they elected the 2 ad hoc delegates, added to the statutory delegates that voted on the 23rd of June. So the issue of saying whether they monitored, whether the party complied with democratic processes and all that is of no moment. And the issue of notice they're talking about has been well settled by the Supreme Court in the judgment they delivered on the 8th of January 2016. In the case of Mahmoud Shinkafi against Abdulaziz Yari, issue of notice was dealt with conclusively by all the justices of the Supreme Court on that 8th day of January 2016 judgment. Even where you fail to give notice to this commission of any of those congresses mentioned in the Act, it does not disqualify you from participating in the election. You pay a fine of 500,000 naira only on conviction. If you are found not to have complied with any of those things, you pay 500,000 naira fine. So the issue of notice does not arise. I don't know why this letter was actually written at all, because there was no ambiguity.
Do you want to quickly respond to that?
No, I think he's completely wrong.
How?
Section 85 of the Electoral Act makes it very clear, makes it mandatory for any political party wanting to nominate candidates by whatever means, whether through a congress, through a meeting, through a convention, or whatever, to give the commission notice of its intention to do so. Now, Section 85, subsection 2, even goes further to say that if a party does not give the commission that particular statutory and requisite notice...
In the Electoral Act?
Yes, I have it here. That if the political party fails to give and the commission is aware that such a congress, a meeting, or a convention is taking place, that the commission can still go there and monitor it. That's what the law says. Secondly, if you look at section 86 of the Electoral Act, it says that the commission shall keep records of the activities of all registered political parties. So we have a duty to keep record of what political parties are doing because we are a regulatory body. Therefore, if a member of the party approaches the commission and says, can I have a report of your monitoring activities in relation to this particular political party? We have the right to say, oh, this is the report we monitored or we did not monitor. We were giving notice or we are not giving notice. And that's exactly what we have done. Now, this commission is aware of the provisions of Section 285, subsection 14 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, in the Constitution, what the Constitution is very, very clear.
285, what does it say?
285, 14, where it defines what a pre-election matter means. And it says that in a pre-election matter, any aspirant who complains that any provision of the Electoral Act has been breached or the guidelines issued by a political party for the democratic nomination of its candidates has been breached, can approach the court for redress. It also gives political parties that are not ABGA the right to also approach the court if they believe that any law has been breached or any regulation or rules have been breached. What we have done is to draw the attention of ABGA to the fact that we did not monitor that delegates Congress. We never, in any letter we wrote, said that ABGA will not participate in the governorship election. If we didn't want them to participate, we wouldn't have gone to go and monitor the Congress they had on the 23rd. In fact, on the second day of July, we are going to give our access code to our nomination portal to the Victor Oye-led ABGA for them to upload the list of their nominated candidates and their personal particulars. If any aspirant has an issue with the way they have conducted their primaries, or any other political party has an issue with what they have done, it is a constitutional right of that particular political party to go to court, either under Section 285 of the Constitution or under Section 87, subsection 9 of the Electoral Act. So we don't have an issue with the party.
The reason why you do not have a report right now is that what? Because they say that they issued a public notice and that Inec is a public institution by virtue of their... Let me finish now.
A national chairman of a party ought to know the mode of giving Inec notice.
Let me add.
Yes.
He says that by virtue of your being a public institution, you ought to have seen the public notice, unless, of course, you didn't take note of that public notice, and as such, you were not able to attend.
If the day we begin communication with political parties only on the basis of newspapers, only in the marketplace, we cease to be a regulatory agency. We are a regulatory commission. You see, some political parties think that they are the ones regulating the commission. No, the commission regulates them. We set the mode through which we interact with them because we are established by the Constitution to organize, undertake, and supervise all elections. So if the only mode of communicating with the commission is through newspapers, asking why did the party give the commission in writing the 21-day statutory notice of the Congress they organized on the 23rd day of June. So let us not go
just a moment. Isn't that because there are specific guidelines asking the political parties to notify Inec directly, not through public notices in that instance?
Section 85 is very clear. It says that whatever you do, whether it's a meeting, you're organizing, a congress, or a convention, so long as it contains the issues relating to the nomination of candidates, that you must notify the commission. That's what the law says.
Let me tell you, this judgment, since he's a lawyer, I don't need to stress myself so much. I don't need to stress myself so much to explain this point.
But then before you explain your point, Senator Umeh.
Yes.
Before you explain your point, the question I would like to pose is, was ABGA deliberately trying to be mischievous by saying, you know what, since it does not specifically say that we have to notify Inec,
yes,
you know, of the delegates, the ad hoc delegates Congress,
yeah,
we might as well put it in the papers, and if they don't see it there, that's their problem.
Let me tell you what it is. The decision in this judgment, which he is also aware of, has said that it is not mandatory. The word used in section 85 is shall give the notice. The Supreme Court has said that that shall does not mean mandatorily. You know, even if you give the notice, they may or may not come. So it's not a condition that you must fulfill,
shall,
so to speak. Yes, it's in the judgment. It is not mandatory. And where you fail to give them that notice, failure to give that notice, even that you are going to do primary at all, that Supreme Court has said that it doesn't invalidate the primary. It doesn't invalidate the primary because there is a provision for fine for failure to comply with any of those things, assuming that what he's saying.
From what he has said, he hasn't said that the primaries have been invalidated.
No, the way you... This,
That's
you
not
know,
what he
this
said.
is a public... You are dealing with the public. Election is a very sensitive thing.
Indeed.
He knows that when they issue that letter cost so much commotion everywhere that APGA has been ruled out of the election. It's only now that he's explaining that it's not like that. When the secretary to the commission signs a letter, it's a decision of the commission that it's conveying. You know, it's not a departmental information. So I have worked with INEC for so long, and any time I see a letter signed by the secretary to the commission, you treat that letter with weight that it deserves. It's the commission that is issuing that letter, not the secretary. You know? So when they put it out, there was a flurry of confusion everywhere that APGA has been ruled. Even Vanguard carried it in a headline. APGA has been ruled out of the November 6th governorship election. Even yesterday, that a report came out. Media aid to the chairman of the commission said they have no decision on APGA. It was published. And also said that they didn't disqualify APGA. They have to retract this letter for you to convey the full import.
Gentlemen, we have to take a break. We have to take a break. We will come back. We will come back and then we will take what the implications of this letter ought to be. Because you know how something, what you release and the perception of the public could be two different things.
Two different things, yes.
So we will talk about that when we come back from this break. Please stay with us. We're talking matters arising in the wake of APGA's governorship Congress held just this week. And we have with us in the studio Mr. Festus Okoye, National Commission and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee at INEC. And we also have with us Senator Victor Umeh, former National Chairman of APGA. They're both here in our Abuja studios. That letter which INEC issued to APGA is what has caused a lot of furore.
Yes.
The reaction which we eventually saw in the public and in the media was not what INEC intended, was it?
Let me explain. On the 3rd day of June 2021, the commission, through the secretary, wrote to the leaders of all the registered political parties in relation to the Anambra governorship election. And the first paragraph of the letter says, as we approach the period provided for the conduct of party primaries towards the emergence of candidates for 2021 Anambra governorship election, the commission hereby reminds political parties on the imperative of holding transparent and democratic primaries. Now, the last paragraph of the letter says, the commission's monitors are to report on the adoption of democratic principles as well as the level of compliance with relevant provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, 1999 as amended, the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, and extant regulations and guidelines issued by the Commission. So this is not the first this letter you are talking about is not the first letter the commission is writing to the political parties. The specific letter that he's complaining about was written to the chairman of ABGA, drawing his attention to a delegates list which he submitted to the commission. And we said, look, we have seen the delegates list you submitted to the commission. We are not in a position to verify the authenticity or otherwise, and under what circumstances those delegates were elected, because we did not monitor it. And then a legal practitioner also wrote to us saying, give us the report of your having monitored that.
You have stated the background, Mr. Okoye. Yes. What I'm trying to say is this. As a result of that letter which you wrote to the ABGA national chairman, there have been implications from that letter. Whether as a result, whether intentionally or unintentionally, these implications or these deductions have been drawn to the extent that people are thinking that ABGA has been disqualified by your commission, you know, for not complying with certain regulations. But from what you have explained now, that was not what you intended. Is that correct?
There was no paragraph of the letter that talked about disqualification. What we said was that we drew the attention to the fact that they did not give us notice of the delegates congress which they conducted. And we also drew the attention to the fact that we did not monitor that delegates congress. So if there are deductions, if people are doing interpretation, it has nothing to do with the commission. The commission is a regulatory body. If the law gives us the power to sanction, definitely we will sanction. So if the law has not given us the power to sanction, we will not sanction. The law has given aspirants and political parties the leverage and the mandate and the constitutional and legal right to challenge whatever has happened in the party primaries in relation to ABGA. It has not given the commission the power to disqualify any ABGA candidate. And we have not said that we have disqualified anybody. So if ABGA, you know, the issue of nominating candidates is completely at their discretion. Our nomination portal will open on the 2nd day of July. If ABGA has conducted party primaries and refuses to submit the list and personal particulars of their candidate, the commission cannot go and force them to submit.
But let me confirm with you that you are satisfied with the conduct of the Congress which they conducted. Are you?
The one we monitored?
Yes.
Yes.
You are satisfied with
that?
Yes,
that is the crux of the matter.
We sent monitors to that particular Congress, and they will monitor and issue a report to the which the commission will certify.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me confirm what the implication of the letter which you now wrote to the national chairman of ABGA. What was that letter intended to achieve? When you say we cannot confirm if the process which led to the nomination of your ad hoc delegates was democratic, what is the implication of that, given that a Congress has already happened, which you are satisfied with?
No, the letter was written before the 23rd.
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay.
When it was the party that submitted the list to the commission.
When was your letter dated? What date was it?
18th June.
Our letter was dated 18th June.
Delivered on 21st.
So what were you hoping will happen as a result of your letter?
No. We are a regulatory body. What we have done is to draw the attention to the fact that we are unable to certify the fact that the World Delegates Conference or Congress, which they organized, was democratically conducted, and that those who were supposed to be the delegates were democratically elected.
As a result of that, yes.
Because a legal practitioner has written saying, please, can we have your report relating to your having monitored these primaries and this delegates congress? And we say we don't have a report. So how can we confirm something we don't know anything about?
You would have stopped at that.
Okay.
Excuse me.
No.
You would have stopped at that. You would have told them that you have no report. You didn't monitor it.
Even during your party primaries, if we observe that something is going wrong, we can draw your attention to what is going wrong and ask you to rectify it.
Alluding to something going wrong again, and you said there was nothing wrong.
Let me flip this. Just a moment, Mr.
For clarity.
Senator Umeh.
For clarity, no, because the public are listening to us and they're watching us. He's trying to make a heavy weather about notice to the commission. We don't need to dissipate energy on this because he is aware, he's a lawyer. On this judgment I'm talking about the failure to give notice, the Supreme Court has interpreted this section 85 he's talking about. And says if you don't give notice at all for the primary, you're talking about adult delegates. If you don't give notice that you are going to conduct primary, where the candidate will be nominated, as clearly stated in section 85, if you don't do that, it does not vitiate your process. It says there's nothing more to it than to pay a fine of 500,000 naira. So why are you making a foundation that nobody gave you notice? And they were respondents in this appeal. They should know that when I was the party chairman, the commission does not write a letter through its secretary without the legal department seeing it. I can tell you that's the procedure. They make a draft because any letter the commission sends out becomes a document that can be used at all times. You will explain a little further, yes, Senator Umeh. Yes. Let me quickly flip this to my colleagues because I'm sure they're dying to put the questions through. Gentlemen.
Well, yeah, Mr. Okoye, if you could just clarify, the legal practitioner in question, well, one wonders, was there a bone of contention when he wrote, and then people wonder what his status is for Inec to have taken that position in the first place?
Well, the legal practitioner wrote on the 16th day of June, 2021, and his letter was titled Application for Certified True Copy of Evidence of 21 Days Notice for the Special World Congresses for the election of ad hoc delegates for the nomination of governorship candidate by the Victor Oye-led All Progressive Grand Alliance, held on 15th day of June, 2021, and Commission's report on the said Congress, a request under the Freedom of Information Act 2011. And we simply replied that this is to notify you that the Commission did not receive the statutory 21 days notice for the Special World Congress for the election of ad hoc delegates for the nomination of Anambra governorship candidate from the Victor Oye-led All Progressives Congress. Accordingly, the Commission did not monitor the as such, there is no monitoring report by the Commission. That's exactly what happened. So it was based on the request from a legal practitioner that our secretary responded to the letter.
Okay, so any legal practitioner can just write it, then you're bound to, of course, respond to that. Is that the case?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, so if you then say that you don't have any problems with the processes that have been conducted, so what Mr. Victor is asking, isn't it then logical for the Commission to either clarify or withdraw the letter such that nobody reads any unintended meaning or consequences to it?
No. We can't withdraw the letter. There are two issues involved here. One, the issue of the Delegates Congress which the political party organized. And two, the issue of the State Congress where they nominated their flag bearer. In relation to the issue of the Delegates Congress, what we said was that the party did not give the Commission notice of that particular Delegates Congress. And therefore, we are unable to confirm under what mode and in what circumstances those delegates were elected or selected or nominated. But in relation to the State Congress that was organized on the 23rd day of June 2021, the party gave the Commission the requisite notice, and we sent monitors to go and monitor that particular Congress, and the monitors are going to issue a report. And based on our guidelines and on our procedures, we are going to give the Victor Oye-led ABGA the access code to the nomination portal, which we opened on the 2nd day of July 2021 for the purposes of uploading the personal particulars and the list of his nominated candidates. So that's exactly what we have said. They have not denied the fact that they did not give us notice to come and monitor their World Delegates Congress. They have not denied that. But the truth of the matter is that under Section 285, subsection 14 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and also under Section 87, subsection 9 of the Electoral Act, it is the aspirants that have the legal right and the legal wherewithal to complain that since certain provisions of the Electoral Act or the guidelines issued by the political party has been violated, that they want to go to court to go and ventilate their grievances. Or any other political party can do that. In relation to the commission, as far as we are concerned, we know who the national chairman of ABGA is, and we monitored the state congress where they nominated their candidate. So we are going to give them an access code. They will upload the list of their candidates and their personal particulars. If any member of their party or any political party has issue with the delegates congress and so on and so forth, that particular political party or that particular aspirant reserves the right to go to court to ventilate his or her grievances. The commission has done its own duty, and we have drawn the attention to the fact that we didn't monitor their delegates congress.
Okay, Mr. Okoye, just a moment. Let's allow Senator Umeh respond to that before we just get another clarification from you. Please go ahead, Senator Umeh.
There's no point trying to make a case for somebody who did not approach you for your opinion. Nobody approached you among the aspirants you are mentioning now that they have the power to go and challenge the process. Are you preempting them? When you wrote that you cannot vouch for that the delegates were elected through a democratic process, you are speculating because you didn't attend, you didn't monitor. Why are you speculating? And you are now saying that the Section 285 of the Constitution has donated the right to other political parties to come in and question this. You are aware that nomination of candidates is the internal affairs of the political party in question. Why are you not suggesting that another political party, if they want to question our delegate congress, that they can go to court? You are laying a foundation for people to come and sue ABGA. It's not right. So what I'm telling you now is that your letter is misconstrued and is mischievous. You should simply withdraw it because there's no way you can maintain that letter and deny that you are not trying to cause confusion for ABGA. The letter you wrote to the legal practitioner, you didn't tell the legal practitioner whether the delegate congress followed the democratic processes. You stopped correctly where you stopped. You don't have the report. Then writing the national chairman telling him you cannot vouch, you are laying a foundation for mischief. That's what I'm saying. And I have said that the cardinal issue in this disagreement is notice to Inec, which I've told you that even the Supreme Court decision is law itself on this matter. You cannot begin to say, oh, we didn't receive, we didn't monitor. Therefore, the implication is that those delegates you used may not be democratically selected. You're overshooting what you're supposed to do as a regulator and monitor. It's our internal affairs, and we can select delegates without doing ad hoc Congress. Yes.
So just a moment.
Statutory delegates can vote.
Right. Just a moment.
No.
Let me take this back to Mr. Okoye.
If you choose indirect primary, the mode of selecting the delegates to that primary was not prescribed. It didn't say you must hold a Congress to choose delegates. He's talking about delegates coming. That's what the Electoral Act said. You don't add anything. And if the Supreme Court has interpreted Section 85 of the Electoral Act on the effect of failure to give notice, INEC can no longer make a heavy whether they received notice or not.
Okay, Senator Umeh, let me take this back to Mr. Okoye.
Not be misled into believing that ABGA didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Okay, let me take this back to Mr. Okoye.
Everything.
We get the point.
The one you demanded that we should do. We should publish in the newspaper. Our chairman and the secretary made sure that they published this in 2 newspapers as you demanded.
Senator Umeh, you made that point. Let me take this back to Mr. Okoye.
And these dates were clearly stated there.
Yes, we get the point. Just a moment. Let me take this back to Mr. Okoye, just pointedly now. So not getting a notice, as you have said, from the party for that special ward congress that, elected the delegates and subsequently not monitoring that particular event, does it make it less democratic for INEC?
No,
that's for Mr. Okoye, actually.
No, he has a point. He doesn't want to come out clearly. He doesn't. Let me answer
let Mr. Okoye respond.
The commission is a creation of the Constitution and a creation of the law. Section 87, subsection 7 of the Electoral Act provides that it says a political party that adopts the system of indirect primaries for the choice of its candidate shall clearly outline in its constitution and rules, the procedure for the democratic election of delegates to vote at the convention, congress, or meeting, in addition to delegates already prescribed in the constitution of the party. Now, but what is important is subsection 8, which says that a political appointee at any level shall not be an automatic voting delegate at the convention or congress of any political party for the purpose of nomination of candidates for any election, except where such a political appointee is also an officer of a political party. These are the things that the law has mandated the commission to go and monitor and make sure that political parties comply with the provisions of the law. So if a political party does not comply with the provisions of the law, it is our duty and responsibility as a regulator to write a report and keep our report. If any individual or any political party challenges what has been done by a particular political party in court, and we are invited to come and say what we know or to come and present our report, definitely we'll go and present our report in relation to our own observation and our own monitoring of that particular process. And that's exactly the point.
Okay, but Mr. Goy, could you tell us then?
Said that ABGA has been disqualified.
Okay, the Congress that the commission monitored, how did you get the notice?
The political party gave the commission the 21-day statutory notice of its intention to organize a state congress on the 23rd day of June 2021.
How, in what manner?
They wrote to the commission.
Directly?
Yes,
or published in dailies?
You see, my colleague here is a former national chairman of a political party, of ABGA. He knows the procedure of communicating with the commission. So for him to come and begin to say that he can now only communicate with the commission on the pages of newspapers, and is belittling the constitutional and regulatory powers of the commission, and it's completely unacceptable. He knows the mode and method of communicating with the commission.
Okay, just before we get Senator Umeh to respond, there's this question also that you seem to have not responded, Mr. Okoye. They talk about the Supreme Court judgment that ruled about notice, how notice is given. He is of the opinion, I mean, from that judgment, that a notice in the pages of the newspaper might suffice. What's your take on that, or the Commission's position on that?
I don't think it will suffice. Every registered political party is obligated under the Constitution and the law to give to the Commission a copy of its Constitution and also a copy of all the constitutive instruments which that particular political party uses. Anytime there's any change in terms of their leadership or any amendment to their Constitution, they are also supposed to give a copy of that particular amendment or that particular change to the Commission. All the registered political parties communicate with the Commission through letters, and they know the mode through which they communicate to the commission. The 18 registered political parties that want to contest the Anambra governorship election gave the commission notice. What some of the political parties did was that in the same notice, those who organized delegates conference gave the commission notice of the dates for their delegates congress at the base level, their state congress at the state level, and so on and so forth in one notice. But in relation to ABGA, they only said, "Oh, we are going to organize state congress on the 23rd day of June 2021." But he knows the mode of communicating with the commission, and it is through letters.
Senator Umeh, he said that for the primaries, your party wrote directly to Inec, but you say that for that, that ward conference or congress rather, you didn't need to write to Inec, that the notice in the pages of newspaper was enough. So why the disparity, really?
Well, like I told you, Section 85 of the Electoral Act spoke about primary to nominate the candidate. Primary to nominate the candidate. And that was what the ABGA did. 23rd of June was the date to nominate the candidate. And they got that notice. The rest of things are internal preparations for the party. And we didn't hide it. According to their guidelines, said we should publish what we intend to do in 2 national dailies. And these 2 public national dailies will receive this public notice and publish them. So trying now to say that the ad hoc delegate, which no place the Electoral Act mentioned at all, no section of the Electoral Act mentioned ad hoc delegate. What he spoke about are delegates, not ad hoc delegates. So when you receive a notice for the nomination of the candidate, the primary to nominate the candidate, it is sufficient. The Supreme Court that interpreted that act also said that that notice is not mandatory. It is law. It is not mandatory. So if you, through your communications, whether national chairman or secretary to the commission, writing back and forth, it does not set aside what the law has said. So we gave these notices, published them in the newspapers, and conducted actually this delegate congress, because I participated on the 15th. I was getting ready to go to the World Congress, and I saw people on television sacking our national chairman. I ignored them because I knew they were jokers.
But you know, you haven't quite responded to, because in the same public notice which
Yes.
you issued to the general public
Yes.
for the Congress,
Yes.
that's the governorship Congress,
Yes.
that was where you put the notification.
That is schedule of activities.
Yes, that
It's
was
called a schedule.
Let me finish now.
Schedule of activities.
Let me finish. That was where
Yes.
you put the notification
The
for
date for the
ad hoc delegate
yes, correct.
nomination.
Yes, because schedule of
why,
activities.
Why didn't you just put that, the schedule of activities, why didn't you send it in a letter to Inec in the same notification which you gave to them?
Well, maybe it was not there, but that does not validate what we have done. That's what I'm trying
Perhaps
to let you
not,
know.
but you know, if we were to infer, because what has caused a lot of furore right now
Yes.
is inference. If we were to infer, could we say that APGA was trying to be mischievous?
No, no.
Or did it have anything to hide by not including that in the schedule of activities to INEC?
No, not at all. Why should we? He is the Commissioner for Information. Let me tell you, if you write anything that is adverse to the image of INEC tomorrow in the newspaper, he will respond to it. They read the papers, they see all these things. So trying to feign ignorance of that public notice now, unless it was put in writing to the commission specifically, is not being fair to APGA. Because we're not trying to hide anything.
Again, you still have not been able to say why, I mean, what the implication of your letter is, beyond saying we're not able to vouch and we're not able to verify that the election of ad hoc delegates was democratic. You have not said what the implication of that would be to APGA.
I think that they are the ones doing the interpretation, they are the ones doing the inference, and they are the ones
that letter.
they are the ones doing the speculation. We are not doing the speculation.
You have to say specifically what you intended to achieve with that letter.
We want, look, as at the time that particular letter was written, they also had a window. They had a window to rectify one or two things if they wanted to rectify something. Because, look, we are asked to vouch for something we knew nothing about. Somebody has written to us, a legal practitioner has written to the commission saying, please, can we have your report? And we said we don't have a report. We don't know, we are not aware.
Why didn't you just leave it at that?
Leave it at that. That's exactly,
no.
That's exactly what I said.
We are a regulatory...
Because you're not writing to APGA to say, can we have a report?
Yes.
You are saying as a result of us not monitoring this, we cannot vouch
for the democratic.
There
are people that are mischievous in this matter.
No, the national chairman of APGA also wrote to us. He wrote to the commission.
He submitted delegate list.
No, just a minute.
Let him finish.
And his letter was dated dated the 16th day of June, saying forwarding of comprehensive list of delegates for the APGA primary election for Anambra State governorship election 2021. So he forwarded this particular list.
In compliance to your...
No, I'm coming.
In compliance to your request. 7 days to the primary.
And we said, we have seen this your list.
Yes.
We are not in a position to confirm under what circumstances and under what manner this list was generated and they emanated. Because under Section 85 of the Electoral Act, whether you are doing a meeting, whether you are doing a congress or a convention, so long as it revolves around the nomination of candidates, the commission is obligated to send monitors to go and monitor it, so that we will have a monitoring report and know what is going on in a political party.
Did you write it immediately he wrote this letter to you, or you waited for the lawyer to bring it to your attention first?
No. This letter was written on the 16th day of June 2021.
I mean the letter which you wrote to the Inec to the ABGA chairman.
That's the one I'm reading. It was written on the 16th day of June 2021, and we responded on the 18th day of June 2021.
Okay.
So if this letter got out to the public, this letter was written to the national chairman of ABGA. So I think that he should tell us who leaked the letter to the public.
The two letters came out together in the media.
Totally out of time. You have not been able to state specifically why that was not included in the schedule to INEC, and INEC has not been able to say specifically what it intended to achieve with the letter which it wrote.
We are a regulatory body. Political parties cannot regulate us. We will continue to regulate them.
It's a fine place to leave it. I think the public can make up their mind.
This thing was tried when I was chairman.
Mr. Festus Okoye, I think the most important thing is that INEC has said they're not disqualifying ABGA from the elections.
And they should not make case for other people. You just write what you want and stop there.
Bone of contention here.
Allow other
But Mr.
people
Festus
to
Okoye,
complain.
National Commissioner, Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee at INEC, and Senator Victor Umeh, former National Chairman of ABGA. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on.
They should withdraw that letter.
Thank you very much for coming on. That letter will not have any effect. We'll take a break at this point and we'll be back shortly. Please stay with us.